Have you ever opened Netflix, scrolled for 20 minutes, and still felt like there was nothing worth your time? Here's the twist. What if the best movies weren't promoted at all? What if they just slipped in quietly, waiting for the right viewer to notice? Halfway through this list, one title completely changed how I look at Netflix's library. And by the end, you might realize you've been skipping gold without even knowing it. Number 15. Blue Ruin, 2013. This movie does not want you to feel comfortable, and that is exactly why it works. Blue Ruin looks small at first. No flashy cast, no loud setup. Just a quiet man living on the edge of society, pulled back into a past he never dealt with. What makes this film hit so hard is how stripped down it is. There are no big speeches, no clean plans. Every decision feels rushed, emotional, and painfully human. The story moves like real life instead of movie logic. Mistakes pile up. Tension builds not from action, but from consequences. You feel the weight of every choice because the film refuses to smooth things over. It is raw without being messy, calm without being boring. What really separates Blue Ruin is its honesty. It never glamorizes violence or conflict. It shows how fast things spiral when someone acts on pain instead of clarity. The pacing is tight, the atmosphere is heavy, and the silence does a lot of the work. This is not a movie designed for casual scrolling. It demands attention, and if you give it that attention, it rewards you with one of the most grounded and unsettling stories Netflix has quietly added in years. Blue Ruin proves that you don't need scale to feel impact. You just need truth. Number 14. I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, 2017. This starts like a small comedy and slowly reveals something much sharper underneath. At first, the movie feels simple. A regular person, a bad day, a breaking point that feels familiar. But instead of turning loud or exaggerated, the story leans into awkward honesty. It becomes a strange mix of frustration, humor, and quiet determination. What makes this movie special is how personal it feels. The main character is not a hero. She is tired of disrespect, tired of feeling invisible. When she finally pushes back, the story becomes unpredictable in the best way. The film balances humor and tension without ever losing control. Scenes feel grounded even when events turn strange. The supporting characters add energy without stealing focus. Every moment feels intentional. There is also something surprisingly thoughtful here. Beneath the jokes and sharp dialogue, the movie asks real questions about kindness, boundaries, and what happens when patience runs out. It never lectures, it just shows you the results. Netflix adding this quietly feels almost ironic because this is a movie about people being overlooked. If you enjoy stories that feel human, messy, and honest, this one deserves your time. It is funny, uncomfortable, and quietly powerful all at once. Number 13, The Nightingale, 2018. This is not an easy movie, and it is not trying to be. The Nightingale is heavy, deliberate, and emotionally demanding. Set in a harsh historical setting, it tells a story about survival, loss, and endurance. The pacing is slow, but purposeful. Every scene is designed to sink in, not rush past. What stands out immediately is how unfiltered the world feels. The film refuses comfort. It does not soften events or emotions. Instead, it focuses on resilience, on the quiet strength it takes to keep moving forward when everything has been taken. The performances are deeply committed. You feel the exhaustion, the fear, the determination. Landscapes are beautiful but unforgiving, creating a contrast that makes the story even more intense. This is not a movie for everyone, and it knows that. But for viewers who appreciate serious storytelling and emotional depth, it is unforgettable. Netflix rarely highlights films like this, which makes its quiet arrival even more surprising. The Nightingale does not aim to entertain lightly. It aims to be felt. And once it settles in, it does not leave easily. Number 12, Apostle, 2018. This movie builds slowly, then refuses to let go. Apostle begins with mystery and restraint. A remote location, a closed community, a quiet mission. But as the story unfolds, layers start peeling away. What first feels controlled becomes increasingly unsettling. The strength of this film lies in atmosphere. Every sound, every shadow, every pause feels intentional. The world feels lived in, with rules you slowly begin to understand. The tension is not rushed, it simmers. What makes Apostle memorable is its commitment to tone. It never breaks character. It trusts the audience to stay patient. And when revelations arrive, they feel earned rather than shocking for attention. This is one of those movies where you can feel the effort behind every frame. The visuals are striking without being flashy. The story is dark without being excessive. Netflix adding this without much noise is surprising because it is one of the more confident genre films in their catalog. If you like stories that reward patience and atmosphere, Apostle stands out quietly but firmly. Number 11, Calibre 2018. This movie understands one thing perfectly. Tension comes from choices. Calibre follows two friends on what should have been a simple trip. From the moment something goes wrong, the story tightens its grip. There are no big twists, no dramatic escapes, just pressure building from bad decisions. What makes Calibre so effective is how real it feels. The fear is not exaggerated. The reactions feel authentic. You can sense panic creeping into every conversation, every silence. The setting plays a huge role. Isolated, quiet, and watchful. The environment itself feels like it is judging every move. The film lets moments breathe just long enough to make you uncomfortable. This is not a fast movie, but it is relentless. The tension never disappears. It simply shifts shape. By the end, you feel exhausted in the same way the characters do. Netflix quietly adding Calibre feels almost wrong because this is one of the most tightly constructed thrillers they have. It proves you do not need noise to create intensity. You just need consequences. Number 10. The Clovehitch Killer, 2018. This movie understands that fear does not always come from strangers. The Clovehitch Killer begins quietly, almost politely, a small town, a familiar routine, a family that seems ordinary on the surface. But slowly, details stop lining up, and once that doubt enters your mind, it never leaves. What makes this film unsettling is how restrained it is. There is no rush to shock. Instead, tension grows through suspicion, through moments that feel slightly off, a look held too long, a question that never gets answered. The movie trusts the audience to notice what feels wrong before anything is confirmed. The story focuses on a young man realizing that the person he trusts most might not be who he believes. That emotional conflict drives the entire film. The fear is internal, quiet, personal. Performances stay grounded, which makes the story hit harder. No one plays this big or dramatic. It feels disturbingly normal, and that normality is what makes it linger. Netflix quietly adding this film is fitting. It is not loud. It does not advertise itself. It waits patiently for viewers who appreciate slow-building dread and psychological tension. This is a movie that creeps in quietly and stays longer than expected. Number 9. The Platform 2019. This movie does not whisper its message. It speaks clearly and refuses to soften it. The Platform is bold, direct, and intentionally uncomfortable. The setup is simple. A vertical structure, limited resources, people placed at different levels. What unfolds is a sharp look at fairness, greed, and human behavior under pressure. What makes this movie work is its confidence. It knows exactly what it wants to say and commits fully. The visuals are striking without being flashy. Every level tells a story. Every reaction feels like part of a larger idea. The pacing is deliberate. Some moments are quiet and reflective. Others are intense and chaotic. That balance keeps the movie engaging while reinforcing its themes. This is not a subtle film, and it does not try to be. It wants you thinking, questioning, debating, And whether you agree with its conclusions or not, it succeeds at starting conversations. Netflix adding the platform quietly feels ironic because this is one of the most talked about ideas in modern genre storytelling. It sticks with you not because of shock, but because of how clearly it reflects uncomfortable truths. This is a movie that challenges you to think about where you stand when the system is stacked. Number 8. Beasts of No Nation, 2015. This was one of Netflix's earliest films, and it still feels unmatched. Beasts of No Nation tells a difficult story with honesty and restraint. It follows a young boy forced into circumstances beyond his control, navigating a world shaped by conflict and survival. The film never sensationalizes, it observes. What makes it powerful is perspective. The story is told through the eyes of someone learning too much too fast. The emotional weight builds slowly, carried by strong performances and a grounded approach. The visuals are striking but never distracting. Natural settings contrast sharply with the harsh reality of events unfolding. The sound design and pacing pull you into the character's internal experience rather than overwhelming you with spectacle. This movie earned respect when it first released, but it is often overlooked now. Netflix quietly placing it back in front of audiences feels important. It reminds viewers what thoughtful storytelling looks like when handled with care. Beasts of No Nation is not an easy watch, but it is a meaningful one. It stays with you because it feels honest, not exaggerated. Sometimes the most impactful films are the ones that refuse to shout. Number 7. Cam 2018. This movie taps into modern anxiety without ever spelling it out. Cam starts with a familiar setup, a person building an online identity, a routine that feels controlled. Then something shifts. Suddenly, control disappears, and the story becomes about identity rather than mystery. What makes Cam stand out is how relevant it feels without relying on gimmicks. It explores how much of ourselves we place into digital spaces and what happens when that version no longer belongs to us. The film keeps things focused. The tension comes from confusion, frustration, and isolation. The audience shares the main character's disbelief as events spiral into something deeply unsettling. Visually, the movie is clean and deliberate. Colors, framing, and repetition all reinforce the sense of being trapped in a system that no longer responds logically. Netflix quietly adding Cam feels appropriate. It is a movie about being seen and ignored at the same time, and for viewers interested in psychological stories rooted in modern life, this one hits harder than expected. Cam does not rely on excess, it relies on unease, and that makes it memorable. Number 6. Nocturnal Animals, 2016. This is a movie that tells two stories and lets them collide emotionally. Nocturnal Animals moves between past and present, fiction and reality. One story unfolds slowly and painfully. The other reflects on regret, distance, and choices made long ago. What makes the film powerful is how it uses contrast. Calm moments are followed by tension. Beauty sits beside discomfort. The movie is carefully structured to keep you emotionally off balance. Performances are restrained but intense. Nothing feels accidental. Every scene feeds into the larger emotional picture. The film asks viewers to connect dots rather than handing answers directly. This is not a movie meant for casual viewing. It demands attention and patience. But for those willing to engage, it offers a layered experience that stays with you. Netflix adding Nocturnal Animals quietly is surprising because this is a film that sparks strong reactions. Some admire it, some find it difficult, but few forget it. This is storytelling that lingers not because of what happens, but because of how it makes you feel afterward. Number 5. The Devil, All the Time, 2020. This movie feels like a slow storm rolling in, and you know it will not pass quietly. The Devil, All the Time is layered, patient, and heavy with atmosphere. It tells multiple stories that slowly weave together, creating a world where choices echo longer than expected. The film takes its time, but every scene matters. Nothing feels wasted. What stands out is tone. From the opening moments, the movie establishes a sense of unease that never fully lifts. Characters are shaped by their environments, by hardship, and by decisions that narrow their options. The story does not rush judgment. It lets actions speak for themselves. Performances are controlled and serious. Nobody overplays their role. Each character feels like a real person caught in something larger than themselves. The rural settings add to the mood, making the world feel isolated and unforgiving. This is not an easy movie, but it is a rewarding one. Netflix adding it quietly makes sense because this film does not chase attention. It waits for viewers willing to sit with it. The Devil, all the time, proves that strong storytelling does not need noise. It needs commitment, and this movie commits fully. Number 4. The Ritual, 2017. This movie understands that fear grows best when it is allowed to breathe. The Ritual follows a group of friends entering unfamiliar territory, both physically and emotionally. Grief hangs over the story from the start, shaping every interaction. The setting becomes more than just scenery. It feels alive, watchful, and unforgiving. What makes this film work is pacing. It never rushes. It lets tension build naturally through silence, distance, and uncertainty. The forest feels endless. Every step forward feels heavier than the last. The movie balances character development with atmosphere. Conversations feel real. Frustration and guilt surface slowly. When the story shifts, it feels earned rather than sudden. Visually, The Ritual is striking without being overwhelming. The camera lingers just long enough to let discomfort settle. Sound design plays a key role, guiding emotion without spelling everything out. Netflix quietly adding this film is almost unfair because it deserves more attention. It is one of those rare movies that respects patience. The Ritual stays with you because it understands that fear is most effective when it is personal. Number 3. Nightcrawler, 2014. This movie is calm on the surface and deeply unsettling underneath. Nightcrawler introduces a character who is polite, focused, and completely detached from normal boundaries. Watching him navigate his world is both fascinating and disturbing. The film never tells you how to feel. It simply shows behavior and lets you process the results. What makes Nightcrawler exceptional is control. The pacing is steady. The tone never breaks. Every decision the character makes feels logical to him, even when it feels wrong to the viewer. The city setting plays an important role. Streets feel empty and cold. Movement feels calculated. The environment mirrors the mindset of the story. This is a movie that rewards close attention. Dialogue matters. Silence matters. Small moments carry weight. Netflix adding this quietly is surprising, because this is one of the strongest character-driven thrillers of the past decade. Nightcrawler is not loud. It is precise, and that precision makes it unforgettable. Number 2. Good Time, 2017. This movie moves fast and never looks back. Good Time drops you into chaos almost immediately. From the opening scene, the story refuses to slow down. Every decision leads directly to the next problem. There is no breathing room, and that is the point. What makes this film stand out is momentum. The pacing mirrors panic. The camera stays close, making everything feel urgent and overwhelming. You experience events rather than observe them. The story centers on loyalty and desperation. Choices are driven by emotion, not logic. And while you may question those choices, you understand why they are made. The visuals are gritty and energetic. Sound design heightens anxiety without becoming distracting. Everything works together to pull you forward. Netflix quietly adding Good Time feels almost wrong because this movie demands attention. It is intense, focused, and unforgettable. Good Time proves that storytelling does not always need polish. Sometimes it needs urgency, and this film has plenty of it. Number 1. Prisoners, 2013. This is one of the most powerful thrillers Netflix has ever added quietly. Prisoners is controlled, patient, and emotionally heavy. It explores how far people are willing to go when certainty disappears. The story builds tension through moral questions rather than spectacle. Every performance feels grounded. Characters are flawed, driven, and believable. The film never offers easy answers. It allows doubt to sit uncomfortably. The pacing is deliberate. Scenes unfold with care, allowing emotion to deepen naturally. The atmosphere is dark but restrained. Nothing feels exaggerated. What makes Prisoners exceptional is how it balances suspense with humanity. You feel the pressure on every character. You understand conflicting choices even when they clash. Netflix adding this without much attention feels like a quiet gift. This is a movie that stays with you long after it ends. Prisoners does not rely on shock. It relies on weight, and that weight lingers. So the next time you open Netflix and think there is nothing left to discover, remember this list. Sometimes the best movies arrive without noise, without banners, without hype. They wait patiently for the right viewer. Which one surprised you the most? Which did you miss? Drop your thoughts in the comments, share this with someone who loves hidden gems, and stay curious. Because the best stories are often hiding in plain sight.